G'day everyone, welcome back to another weekly tipping video on the channel. Going to be going over my tips for round 12 of the 2025 AFL season. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you do go into enjoy today's video. Let's get straight into it. Okay, let's just quickly go over my tips from the previous round, that being round 11. Got myself an 8 out of 9. Almost a perfect round. Was stitched up though by the Blue Baggers. Backed them in at home, but yeah, the Giants under Toby Green's 250th game led the way with a really impressive win away from home. But yeah, the rest of the round did get correct. The Cats over the Dogs, one of the games of the year, high scoring. The Cats, probably just that class above though, especially with their execution. Essendon tipped them against the Tigers. Richmond brought the heat as I expected, but the Dons were able to run away with it. The Giants, really impressive win, but I thought the Blues would get back, get a bit of a bounce back under the lid at Marvel. Brisbane against Hawthorn. I think the Hawks were more highly tipped in this game, but I just expected a bounce back for Brisbane, and yeah, they looked really strong. Collingwood against North Melbourne, fairly self-explanatory. Same could be said with Fremantle, given Port Adelaide looking like a bit of a bottom four team as of late. The Crows over the Eagles, backed in the D's over the Swans. Wasn't expecting a pasting like this, but yeah, there you go. They're in some red hot form now, the D's. And the Suns, been unconvincing going with them, but they did do the job over the Saints away from home. A quick look now, my tipping competition leaderboard update. There were a number of people that got themselves a full 9 out of 9 score. Patch, he's averaging 40. 𝐼𝐴𝐿11, Country Roads, Pasindu, the Mighty Muffin Man, William, Bazza43, DKG YouTube, all got themselves a full 9 out of 9 score. I think that's the most we've had so far this year in one round. So congratulations to all those people that got themselves a full score. And as for who is leading my competition, it's still a bit of a tie here. It's a three-way tie. Liam H, Rhinos Raffles, and CC's all share top spot with a total score of 91. Okay, so let's now get into the tips for round 12. If you aren't aware, this is a bye round, and it will be the case for the next 5 rounds. We've got 4 teams off this week, so just the 7 games. We'll begin on the Thursday night. Brisbane taking on the Dons at the Gabba, and I think we just have to look right away at what everybody's looking at heading into this matchup. Essendon, their injury list, especially their tools, is now starting to really take a hit. So looking on my phone here, apart from Peter Wright, Goldstein and Nate Caddy and a few depth players like Vicentini, all their players over 190 centimetres are out. And heading into this game, the most likely really able to line up with the one key position defender of 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐿𝐵𝗎 for this match. So they've just been killed with injury. And I feel like heading into this one, it's almost like nothing to lose. So I think they'll come out at this game really punching against the Lions. I was expected the favourites with this game quite overwhelmingly. A good win they had last week, the Lions. Yeah, just so powerful through the middle of the ground in their transition game. Blitzed the Hawks and they kicked some big scores, and a couple of minutes Charlie Cameron had a big patch of that game to really get the game out of the Hawks' favour. But overall, just Brisbane, when you watch them play, probably the most connected team with their ball movement in the comp, and they just got it done in the trenches. So it was a mature performance by a really good professional side back at home at the Gabba against a bit of an undermanned Essendon side. Pretty much hard to go against them here. As for the Dons, they got the job done in that second half against the Tigers. Got their ball movement really going nicely. Angus Clark had an excellent first game. Reminded me of Ollie Dempsey in a way, playing as that wing, but was able to push deep into the goal scoring kick, 3 goals on debut. So could he make some impact here at the Gabba? As I said before, the Dons coming into this one, not much to lose, I feel, given their scenarios. I think they're going to really bring it up in terms of intensity and pressure. And could they try and outdo Brisbane in the midfield? As we've said before, the Dons, first few games of the season, they've been pretty good with their contested possession differential. So could they get on top of that area, wreak some havoc on the inside? But overall, it's just hard to go against Brisbane here. But I think they could bring it up to them, the Dons. But yeah, the Lions, just a class above, I think they'll be in their front half game, especially with a few key position players out. So going to go Brisbane here, and we'll go Brisbane here by 24 points. For Friday night footy now, we do have the Pies taking on the Hawks at the MCG. It's a bit of a bogey side, the Hawks, for the Pies. But when you look at both sides, Collingwood looking in ripping form. And as for the Hawks, a bit of a reality check now. They've dropped their past 2 games, and it was a shocking performance against Brisbane. When they start off the year, they looked like such a high chemistry, high cohesive unit. They defended well behind the ball. Sicily's first odd few games was looking really good. And Barras and Battle, they'll making an impact, but geez, that loss against the Lions, just how they defended really poorly. They looked a bit lost at sea when the Lions are moving the footy inside 50, players not manning up well, and the midfield's been a concern. They haven't been able to get it done in the trenches. They were looking, I'm pretty sure, like a top 4 clearance differential side when they were in that good vein of form last year, but now this year, they're ranked 16th. Still a fairly young team, and now going to play some more trickier opponents given their quote-unquote softer start to the season. And the coach Mitchell's definitely said that they are still a work in progress, but could they cause maybe a bit of an upset here against the Pies? throughout patches of the games, I still feel like they show some really good glimpses of the ball movement inside 50, so they've just got to bring that for 4 quarters. Against probably one of the best defences in the competition, it's going to be tricky because they just set up so well the Pies. The role players are high off forwards, they're highly impactful on being able to force turnover and get it back the other way. They link up play by hand, some of the best in the AFL out of any side too. And they have a handful of players coming back in like 𝐓𝐡𝐿 and 𝘵𝐻𝐼𝐷 will be back. 𝗵𝐻𝐿 will also be back. Given what the Hawks dished up last week, it's just hard to back them in here against the competition's what is looking like the best of the best. So I'm intrigued, no doubt. You'd think the Hawks will be bringing the mouthguards to training, will want to apply a lot more of better intent around the football, especially defensively. They'll leak in goals left, right and centre against the Lions. If they can bring that, I think they're a decent chance, but it's just hard to go against the Pies here. They're looking in really good nick across all facets of the ground. So I'll back in the Pies here to win this one by 20 points. For the Saturday games now, first one up, we do have the Suns taking on the Dockers at People's First Stadium. This one looks like a ripper of a matchup. The Dockers, last 2 weeks, now starting to hit the straps with 2 good quality wins over the Giants and, of course, Port Adelaide, where they start off a bit slow against the pair, but really got going through their midfield. Suns up in the Gold Coast, always a hard place to play though. I don't think they're yet to lose a game at home this season. Got the job done against the Saints and probably could have won that game by a little bit more. I thought the damage was done throughout the second and third term, but yeah, the Saints got back into the game a little bit. They were a bit inaccurate, which did help them in a way, but oh geez, they're looking like such more of a mature team. When the whips are cracking, their midfield just gets it done. The forward half game looking like a 𝐷𝐻𝐼𝐷 style, where they just really scrap and fight to win possession back in dangerous areas, and they convert well off the turnover. They're also scoring fairly well from the back half too. All the numbers are in the green and looking like one of the more informed teams in the competition. So can they take down the Dockers? One of the more unpredictable teams in the competition, Fremantle. At their best, they can certainly beat anybody. The Dockers just can't go into their shells with this game. Away from home, they've shown it. They can be a bit timid and not really, demand the corridor and rack up the handball receives, but they did show that really well against the Giants, so could we see that again away from home? Brayshaw and Sarong can lead the way. Jackson as a solo ruck has been outstanding too with his follow-up work. Maybe if they can dominate the clearances and, show a bit of dare of that ball movement that they've been able to show. I don't mind them here, but yeah, the Suns are at home, just hard to go against. I think, most of their games in really good order, looking great with their intensity in their midfield battle too. So yeah, I think they can do a number on the Dockers midfield, given that's been a bit of an inconsistent area for Fremantle. So I'll back in the Suns here. And yeah, fairly close game of football, go Gold Coast by 14. Next game up, we have the Giants taking on the Tigers at 𝐸𝐺 Stadium. GWS with a really good quality win against the Blues last week. They did it for Toby Green in game 250, and geez, was he best on ground. Some awesome goals he kicked. And a bit of the Giants that we know of when they play their good footy. Just their ability to move the ball from the back half was really damaging. I think they kicked 10 odd goals from defensive half. That was sort of at the expense of, I thought, Carlton's poor defending, but yeah, they really worked the handball change really nicely. They've moved Whitfield onto the ball and half forward, which makes sense given Josh Kelly and Callaghan's out a bit, so they need some smooth movers through there whilst 𝘼𝐼𝐴 still rebounds fairly well. As I've said, as of late with Richmond, they're just going to be heading into every game almost with a nothing to lose mentality given the position they're at. But, they really need Tom Lynch, I feel, back for this game. Given what we saw against the Dons last week, they had Jonty Ford, they had Sims, they had some very young key forwards. Trainer played forward last week too. They've got to have an experienced wise head up there to lead the way because, there was just some poor injuries, I thought, as the game wore on against the Dons. So Lynch back in, you think would be very important from concussion. How long can they sustain the intensity of the Tigers? They seem to be starting off games okay and putting on a bit of scoreboard pressure, but they can be known to fade away a little bit. So because of that, I'll sway my tip here to the Giants. We think they're back and then they'll pull out a shocker against the Dockers like we saw, but it's hard to see. Probably lose this game against Richmond just because of when you look at that quality that the Giants do possess in many areas of the ground. They defend their back 50 really well too, so if they can rebound well like they did against the Blues last week, up the ante with their pressure like they showed against Carlton, I think they should be too strong here for the Tigers. I'll go with the Giants here to knock off the Tigers, and they'll win this one by 24 points. Saturday night game, we have the Swans taking on the Crows at the SCG. Sydney off the back of probably their most disappointing loss of the season, and it could be one that pretty much ends their season. It was shocking. They started the game all right, where their intensity was good, but yeah, geez, they looked soft defensively. They could really move the ball out of the back half, and that's been a bit of an issue for Sydney this year. When they go long down the line, they can't seem to win many ground level contests when the ball hits the deck. the Demons just belted them across many areas around the ground with the contested footy. They were smacked in the ground ball game. I'd expect a bit of a bounce back here in terms of physicality back at home against the Crows, where they have a fairly good record. But yeah, it's a contrast of difference when looking at this matchup, because Adelaide are the team in form this season, whilst the Swans aren't. And yeah, the Crows just chipping away very nicely. It was a bit of an arm wrestle in that first half against the Eagles, but yeah, they just really got their front half press going, and able to beat the Eagles convincingly around the ball. Dawson spent quite a bit of time and forward, probably one of the best on ground in that game, and they'll certainly be heading into Sydney with some confidence against the Swannies here. Just don't know what Sydney we are going to be expecting here, to be honest. Are we going to be seeing one that really bounces back? I feel like we are, but you never know. They've been a side that can show some really poor deficiencies with how they move the ball. They can turn it over in some poor spots, and the Crows are one of the top turnover teams this year, especially from the back half. They're moving it really nicely, and the Swans have been able to struggled a bit with defending ball movement at times. My head says Adelaide win this game of football. I just think their front half game could really outdo the Swans. But the Sydney, when you look at it, they will get back in 𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼, they'll get back in McInerney, but Mills does go out. 𝐓𝐡𝐿 does go out with injury too. That's a big out in their defensive half. But 23rd anniversary for the Swans with their 2005 grand final side. Do they get a few plays revving up the boys in the sheds perhaps? I'm just feeling a Sydney bounce back here. It's a bit of a heart prediction here, but I just think they'll find a way and respond and maybe turn this game into a bit of an arm wrestle. Then they'll get a bit of their stars on top and find a way to claw towards a win. So I think the Crows should be too good here, but I'm going for Sydney for a bit of a bounce back and really ramp up the intensity. So I'll go the Swans here by 6 points. For the Sunday games now, first one up, we do have the D's taking on the Saints at T.O. Traeger Park at Alice Springs. Yeah, wow, the D's hitting some good form as of late, and we did say in the power rankings to put them a few spots higher after their win against Brisbane, saying, look at their contested numbers, look at how they're moving the ball, they're looking like a lot more of a confident team, and that just all came to the fore with their win against the Swans. It was a bit of like a 2021 all over again with Gawn, Petrarca and Oliver were the three key to really dominate that game against Sydney, but I thought 𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼 was definitely best on ground. He's just changing games at the moment. He's finding the goals well. He's hard to tackle. He's looking like an absolute game changer. All Australian, you'd think at the moment. Lever came back in and slotted into that back line. They're looking well settled. They're having a method with how they move the ball. They can go quick, but they can also control it really well. Yeah, no, they're looking like a lot more of a connected team, even post-game. You know, Simon Goodwin really getting around the players, hugging them. So, yeah, they're in a really good spot here, the Ds. And as for the Saints, they've been just so inconsistent, but they've dropped their past 3 games now, last win coming against the Dockers. So they just need a response in terms of intensity. But I thought we did see that a little bit against Gold Coast, but just their class and their connection inside 50 really let them down some pouring trees. I think it was 1 goal 6 odd they kicked in that third term whilst they had a bit of momentum. So yeah, the foot skills got an eaten up, and that's been just inconsistent for the Saints this year. They show some nice change from the back half, but yeah, their numbers just haven't looked as good with the points from defensive half from last year. But yeah, can they knock off the Ds here? It's just hard to see given the form Melbourne are in. They're looking connected as a unit. Their midfield has been dominant when you look at the contest possession numbers, and off the back of their highest score in quite some time, and a lot of scores coming from the front half as well off the turnover. It's just, hard to go against the Ds here, looking in ripping form. So I think that should be too good here for the Saints, and they should win this one well by 28 points. Final game of the round, we have the Eagles taking on the 𝐼𝐶𝐞 at Optus Stadium. So West Coast off the back of a disappointing loss, no doubt, against the Crows. It felt like they came into that game, though, with a bit of a plan. They really were able to outnumber them at a lot of ground level contests. Their pressure was great from the get-go, and they were getting a lot of inside 50, especially at the start of that second term. They were dominating, just weren't able to put on enough scoreboard pressure as the Crows did kick away and win convincingly in the end. So could that be an error of focus once again, especially against the Cats, where if you can get them in the midfield and really move the ball well, you can wreak a bit of havoc. And I think a few times West Coast has seemed to play decent patches against the Cats at home from memory at the top of my head. But yeah, just heading in this one, definitely hard to go against the Cats here off the back of a really good quality win against the Western Bulldogs, where their ball movement looked really schmick, especially from the back half. They'd hit up, let's say, Jeremy Cameron on the lead, and then they'd just catch the Dogs at the back. Their pressure is really good too, disrupted the Doggies' hand pass game and executed really well off the turnover as well. Perhaps they might rest a few players. I know Bally Smith apparently had some injections heading into that Bulldogs game. You'd think maybe he gets the rest here, so it sells himself getting a trip all the way over to Perth. I'm intrigued to see how the Eagles will start off this game. Could they maybe put them under the pump early on? Perhaps, but yeah, just the Cats, it's pretty self-explanatory here. A lot more of a quality team, and yeah, they should just be too good in many areas of the game here, and they will knock off the Eagles, I believe, and win this one, well, in the end, by 35 points. So overall, they were my tips for round 12 of the 2025 AFL season. So yeah, just the 7 games for this round. A few ordinary matchups when we look at it, but you never know, they could turn into some absolute beauty. So let me know your tips down below in the comment section. Always love to hear your people's opinions, and that's pretty much it from me, everybody. Take care, and until next time, I'll talk to you later. See you later, fellas.